On April 22nd, 2025, 60 chess pieces appeared throughout Destiny 2. These ranged from the tower to the depths of the Dreadnought. A week later, a new location would appear in Eris Morn's throne world, the Unknown Antechamber. Within its strange halls lies a giant chessboard, and using the 60 pieces, you could play chess. In this video, I'll be breaking down the Chess ARG and answering its strange lore regarding time travel, the multiverse, the AION network, and the Nine. So you were able to place every chess piece onto the board, but to advance the ARG, you gotta place them in the correct position. Shooting the chess pieces into the correct positions will trigger absolute pin, and that'll change the chessboard. What you're attempting to accomplish is the perfect checkmate for every board it changes to always have a white piece dominating the checkmate. There are 27 of these boards to complete, and upon doing so, you complete the en passant triumph. En passant is a real-world chess move, an action that's described as, quote, the capture by a pawn of an enemy pawn on the same rank. As we'll come to learn, the chessboard is a means of communication and dialogue with some entity on the other side. The chessboards themselves are rather interesting, as part of the process of checkmating involves deleting and converting pieces. In Destiny, this was called taking. Perhaps these boards represent the last 10 years of Destiny, the Guardian in the Forces of the Light represented by the white pieces, and the Witness in the Forces of Darkness by the black pieces. Deleting and converting could represent deaths and characters switching sides. The En Passant Triumphs also gives us a lore book titled Tales of a Wanderer. In this book, we read how Drifter is planning on leaving the solar system since Eris died. He visits locations such as Val's office in the tower and the EDZ. These are the same locations as where the chess pieces appeared. However, it seems as if Drifter ignored these. Some pieces arrived into his hands, and he disregarded these as misplaced trinkets, giving them to our Guardian. It seems like wherever these chess pieces came from were a guide for Drifter and our Guardian. A guide to something else. The question remains, and one I'll try to give an answer for, where did these chess pieces come from? We'll get to that in a moment. After completing the En Passant Triumph, the conversion and taking action disappears, leaving a water pond. Walking up to this water gives you a 4-digit signal frequency and a unique chessboard. The community went to work gathering all of these unique chessboards and combining them into an image. This image was a QR code. Scanning the QR code takes you to the website AIONarchives.net. The website allows you to input a variety of codes, many of which carry important lore. This is where the bulk of this video is concerned, and there's a lot to unpack. First of all, the name itself. This is not the first time we've heard of AION. We've only had one other reference, and that was in Vesper's Host, where Estrella told us of her siblings Clovis kept secret from her.
Rasputin, the Stormworm Protocols, the AION Initiative, Soteria. I had siblings this whole time, and you never let me know.
The AION Initiative is one of her AI siblings, so there seems to be an AI connected to the archives in some way. We see this as the AION website boots up. There are texts that talk about an AI core. However, whilst all the other systems on this website are okay, the AI core is labeled not okay. This is another tragic realization for poor Estrella. Another one of her AI siblings is doing terribly. On this boot screen, we're told that refresh, auth, minus 234 years. So what does this 234 years mean? Is this the age of AION, or perhaps the data range of what they have observed? Maybe their data spans 234 years, and that would make sense given what we're about to get into. But putting in the code 001 gives you this. The Apollo Intertemporal Observation Network notes and logs data on time dilation and other anomalies across the visible universe, separating the chaff of normal lightspeed travel time from other more serious mismatches. This is slow but meticulous work, requiring extreme patience and sharp observation. Successful employees are expected to be willing to check the same work many times over and perform the same experiments in excess of hundreds of times. There is a place where the numbers do not match. We have seen it, we will see it. So we learned that AION stands for Apollo Intertemporal Observation Network. Apollo is the Greek god of prophecy, and also which we now know that codename Apollo is named after, which we now know as the Edge of Fate, the next expansion. Intertemporal is a word to describe the relationship between the past, future, and present events. So those of AION are observing time dilation and speak of a place where the numbers do not match. However, some claim to have or will see it. Time dilation is something that's pretty confusing, but essentially it is the difference in elapsed time between two clocks, and this is either because of relative velocity between them or a difference in gravitational potential. We see this effect in the movie Interstellar, where a planet is located in orbit of a large gravitational mass, a supermassive black hole. 3 astronauts go down to the planet, while one stays just outside the field of time dilation on board of a ship. 3 hours pass on the planet, while 23 years pass for the man on the ship. When they meet again, the astronauts haven't aged a day, whereas the man is 23 years older. This is the effect of time dilation, and the scientists of AION are observing its effects, and they have found a place where the numbers do not match. 002 tells us the history of AION. Founded in Redacted, the Apollo Intertemporal Observation Network, hereafter AION, takes its name from the old Greek god of prophecy and truth. Alert, dedicated 777, utterly to the pursuit of the truth of the universe, unbound by what has come before. Error, we have seen it. We will see it. I just want to say here, I called this with my Vesper's host analysis video. But I digress, the information here is rather interesting. We're again told that we have seen it and that we will see it again, and we double down the idea of prophecy and truth regarding AION. 003 gives us context for the chess pieces. Our founder, Redacted, especially fond of chess, calling it a bloodless way to test a person's mettle. Game has survived countless years of human civilization, and indeed many cultures have some manner of representative war game. Scientists are encouraged to play and observe how the game becomes conversation. So we learn that chess is a medium of conversation. It's a manner of communication that many cultures can understand, and it's a game that has survived centuries. It's a way of dialogue that has survived, and AION has studied it intensively. We see this in full effect with the chessboard in Destiny. We are essentially communicating with something on the other side, and chess transcends any language barrier. Our chess pieces are an answer to some question on the other side. We are engaging in dialogue, and we're having a full back and forth. 004 tells us about an interesting location. The Oort Cloud, sometimes known as the Opic Oort Cloud, was proposed by Dutch astronomer Jan Oort. We see quite a few error messages, which could all be indicating that this place was not found. But we learn about the Oort Cloud. This is a theoretical trans-Neptunian region at the edge of the solar system. It's theorized to be a cloud of icy celestial bodies. And this is not the first time the Oort Cloud has been referenced in Destiny. In Season of the Worthy, Osiris ventured out to the Oort Cloud and discovered an anomalous maw. This maw beckoned Osiris to come close, and he donned a spacesuit to meet it. He plucked a seed from within its depths and returned to the ship, and as they left, an angular shadow loomed over his ship. This seems to have been a dormant pyramid ship within the Oort Cloud, which held a seed of silver wings. Yet there's maybe something of importance if we decide to venture out into the Oort Cloud. 005 tells us about negative space. Negative space, artistically speaking, is a space left open, defining that which is filled. Rubens' vase can be perceived as a vase or faces, and each form is defined by the other. The optical illusion is in which the space the viewer opts to see is empty. Ma, the space defines that which exists in it. This one is really interesting, and this log speaks about negative space and Ma, which is a Japanese concept for negative space. In Japanese artwork, Ma is negative space that is as significant as the art depicted. In Destiny, this could refer to the Nine, who are dark matter beings that are given meaning by the space around them, in this case, the inhabitants of Sol. 006 reminds us that there is a place, though there is an error and the location is not found. However, Red Text responds, claiming they have again seen it. 007 tells us more of the history of AION. 2 occasions of scientific dishonesty in the history of our organization, each of which lost years of progress. Each instance will be recorded on the Redacted, along with its consequences and reasons, to remind all future scientists of the weight. It seems that AION takes scientific dishonesty very seriously, and that these cases in particular are to be reminders for future scientists. It says they have lost years of progress, but with the context of the organization, it seems that this setback carries a lot more weight. Years lost to AION is devastating when observing time dilation. 008 gives us insight as to what the location might be. Certain trans-Neptunian objects cluster in ways not explicable by the gravity asserted on them by currently known solar bodies. If, however, there were another planet-sized object obscured from our sight in some manner, the gravity it would exert would explain the tilting and the clustering of these objects. In fact, we can calculate the size of the planet required down to the Redacted. This entry is speaking about trans-Neptunian objects being affected by a strange gravitational anomaly, perhaps the bodies in the Oort Cloud. They are being tilted and clustered in a strange way. They hypothesize that it could be a planet-sized object or a planet itself that has been obstructed from our sight, causing the gravitational pull, and they can calculate its size. However, it's still unknown what is causing the gravitational anomalies, as it's something purely hypothetical. This is observed in real life, where trans-Neptunian objects that orbit the sun are tilted and cluster in a similar strange way. These oddities suggest that a hypothetical planet 9 could be the culprit, its gravitational effects causing the strange orbits and tilting effects. Another possible explanation is that it could be due to a cluster of dark matter. In Destiny, this could reveal who the 9th member of the 9 is, as there are 8 definite planets that the dark matters orbit, but the 9th member is up to debate. It could either be the sun or Pluto. However, if there's an actual planet 9 in Destiny, then this would be it. This would be the 9th member of the 9. 009 tells us this: the data is wrong, according to everything we accept as true per the laws of physics at this point in time. There is some anomaly, there's something wrong with their intertemporal investigations that does not coincide with the laws of physics. The question is, what did they find on this location? 010 tells us about 6 deployed objects. A lot of the text is redacted, so we can't really make out what it's trying to tell us, but these 6 objects are presumably in this new location. 011 brings up a list of codes to input, which reveals some more lore. 012 is a log that was used to give the players solving the main bulk of the ARG clues and verification that they've completed a step. Returning to 011, we can start to go through its many codes. Let's start by looking at the dates. The first date is the beginning of the ARG, when the chessboard appeared in the High Heresy, and it reads, "Signals confirmed, entities interact through time." How? Redacted. AION is confused that we, the entities, are interacting through time. AION seems to be functioning at a different point in time than us, though we don't know where exactly in time they are functioning. Perhaps this connects to the 234 years. Another date, 05/04/1991, is the day Bungie opened its doors. Company established in 1991. Appears to have created software as individuals. Strange text. In some redacted, ostensible ways, their software universe strangely similar. Interaction from entities seems to overlap and change outcomes. World domination? Who is Ling Ling? Contacted entity posted images of communication and nearby building. Somehow, AION was able to communicate and interact with the real-life Bungie, perhaps through time in a similar manner as we did in the Destiny universe. It also references Ling Ling, which connects to very ancient Bungie lore. Ling Ling also has a page on the AION website, and Ling Ling is a dog Bungie used to own, but it's not just any dog, it's the dog's severed head that they kept in a jar. The next date is 09/09/2014. The day Destiny 1 released, and the terminal describes it as when new connections were created. You can also input the release dates of Bungie's old games into this website, which provide their own Easter eggs and lore. How AION has access to all this knowledge is interesting, and connects to the larger Bungie Multiverse. We saw this in the 30th anniversary, that it allowed some weapons from other Bungie games to appear in Destiny, and we know that the Meta Multi tool is a weapon from the Marathon universe. So the Bungie Multiverse does exist, but that's a story for another day. The next section is labeled Save Notes and Miscellaneous. The first, 11101, describes a recipe that includes pomegranate juice. In Greek mythology, pomegranates are a symbol for the goddess of the dead, grain, spring, and the queen of the underworld, Persephone. Persephone was abducted by the god Hades into the underworld, and there she became really hungry. She didn't eat anything, as if she did, she would become trapped. Her abduction sent her mother, Demeter, into a period of sorrow. This led to a harsh winter season for the humans on Earth. Demeter and the rest of the gods requested Hades to send her back, and as Persephone was leaving, Hades convinced her to eat 6 pomegranate seeds. When Demeter and Persephone reconciled, the world grew with flowers in a time of spring. However, because she ate the pomegranate seeds, she had to return to the underworld with Hades for a period of time. When she was with her mother, the world was in a time of spring, and when she was trapped with Hades, the world was in winter. Perhaps the pomegranate has some connection to a Persephone story parallel in Destiny. 11102 is a log for the founder. We've come into contact with the founder of the Redacted. Tunneled through Redacted with simple Redacted, assisting with prep future events. Communicate with the new T1 Redacted. He agrees with our fascination with chess. Bobby favorite? We learn of the founder of something that begins with this string of text. This might refer to a time tunnel, as you could get a message received that says the time tunnel is this string of text, which the two strings look kind of similar, and that adds up with the tunneling described in the founder log. It then talks about communion with a new T1 something. The letters are redacted. The strange image that we see is given the name of T1, so whatever piece of technology we're looking at is a device of communication, it seems like. The founder also has a fascination with chess, as AION does, and it seems that Bobby Fischer, an iconic chess player, is seemingly his favorite. 11103 tells us more about chess. Experiments with chess. Disappearing. Nothing makes more sense than van redacted. The key to get ahead is of redacted. Use this to get started. AION has conducted experiments with chess, as they have a fascination with it, and scientists observed how chess is used in conversation. It seems like these chess pieces disappeared out of thin air. The string of yellow text is a Fen code, a type of chess notation, and that was the answer for the previous en passant puzzle. 11104 is where the ARG took place. This is where you would upload your signal frequency from Chesstiny and see if it had a data match. The community took to gathering all the signal frequencies to see which ones had a match. Doing so would allow them to analyze the chessboard image it was accompanied with, and find the pieces that check all the kings at once on the board. This piece would then be placed into the big Destiny board at its position in the small chessboard. Upon placing all of the pieces, the ARG was completed, and text read, "The pieces are the words between the lines, and now you begin to see the page." A chest appeared giving many trinkets, and a cutscene played where Drifter describes his experience venturing out to the edges of Sol. Drifter tells us that after Eris' death, he traveled far, as he couldn't bear to look at the moon since it reminded him of Eris. He mentions how something is out there, throwing rocks at our window. We'll get back to this cutscene in just a minute. When the ARG was completed, a new date on log 011 was revealed, 05/01/2025, interesting entities, and it read, 2 highly interesting entities found, stubbornly meticulous, behavior breaking from the mold, NZB, ZSHI, logged for future study, heard our message, shared our redacted. These refer to 2 players who participated in the ARG, NZ Bell and Z Shizo, who first discovered that shooting the pieces in the correct position lit green flames, signifying what the community had to do. They heard the message of AION. Now that we have all the lore out on the board, I want to answer some important questions. First of all, where do all these chess pieces come from? It seems like they randomly disappeared out of thin air from the hands of AION and into our reality. I think this was orchestrated by the 9. I think they're trying to guide us somewhere, to tell us something. They want us and AION to be brought together for a reason unknown, and we are using chess to communicate through time. The next question I had, and one I spent time on stream trying to figure out, is why the chessboard was in the High Heresy. What was Eris' role in the story, and why was the 9 using her domain as a place of communication with chess? Well, I think the answer lies in the old invitations of the 9.
Only 2 others have transcended their design. First, an hourglass counting down with infinite patience. The second, a forgotten blade sharpened anew. And now, the dredgen.
The emissary of the 9 tells us that the Drifter and 2 others have transcended their purpose. The hourglass counting down with infinite patience could be interpreted as either Marosov or Elsie Bray. The second, though, is rather interesting. The forgotten blade sharpened anew. I think this is referring to Eris Morn. The 9 have an interest in Eris, and believe that she has transcended her purpose. Since they deem her worthy, they use her throne world as the place of communion with AION. Essentially, the 9 are facilitating our communion with AION by placing the chess pieces and crafting the board as a way of conversation. When we finish the ARG, we read that the pieces are the words between the lines, and now you begin to see the page. We had sent back our answer to those on the other side, and this confirms that our chessboard was our way of communication. That answers some of these questions, but we still don't know what AION truly is, and what location they were observing or have yet to see. I don't think we'll get answers for AION or why the 9 are doing this just yet, but the Drifter cutscene shows us more regarding the location. Drifter went far and found a strange anomaly in space. This sent pulses throughout space, and these pulses aged his ship and Drifter himself, yet not the hull. The hull, the giant craft behind the ship, remained unchanged, unaffected by the pulses which aged and de-aged Drifter and the ship. We see how his ship goes from looking old and beat up to new and pristine, and how Drifter's face changes by the pulse. He ages. I think we are seeing the temporal effects AION was observing, which have the ability to rapidly age and de-age. This planet, or singularity, or whatever this anomaly is, may be the mass affecting the gravity of the trans-Neptunian objects as described in the previous logs. The YouTube version of the cinematic shows clear text that says Chicago and Kepler 15. This refers to Old Chicago, a place in Destiny lore where a dangerous creature lurks within its tombs, and where the Graviton Lance was discovered. Kepler 15 is a star, and Kepler 15b is a hot Jupiter gas giant that orbits it. Wherever we go on the edge of fate remains unknown, but the expansion no doubt has connections to Old Chicago, Kepler 15, and possibly this theory of Planet 9. I think that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed, use code abaddon.10 at your next advance order for a discount. Links are in the description. And if you want to watch more, click the video on the screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you very soon.